Today, we'll be talking about a very important stock in my watch list called SONO. Now, SONO is not just a stock on my watch list, it's one of my favorite stock for last year. And this is why I'm making this review and making this analysis concerning this particular stock and all of the potentials that this particular stock possesses and how investors can take advantage of this. Now, this is not just a stock that a lot of people are aware of, but they use it, but they do not know that this is the company that produces that very equipment that they use. If you have a speaker in your house, this is one of the company that produces some components in that speaker. Now, their revenue is part of the fundamentals, and we'll be looking briefly on their fundamentals and the technical aspect of it. So we can be able to judge from these two parameters if this is a good and viable investment for us as an investors to key into this. So what exactly is really happening with SONO, and what do we stand to gain analyzing this particular pair, and how do we intend to take action with this information? So first, we'll be looking at their fundamentals. We want to start with the hard numbers. And then we'll talk about the technicals later. Then I will get to show you the chart and all of the things that it carries for us. Now, on the fundamentals, there are certain questions we want to ask whenever we're analyzing any stock, be it Apple, Meta, Amazon, or Sonos. And one of them is this business really making money? Because, like I have always told many of my students, a stock is not just a separate entity. A stock is part of a business. Whenever you say, I want to buy a particular shares in this company, the reason why you are called an investor is because you are putting your faith and your money where your trust and heart lies in. So a stock is not just a separate entity. It is a company. They have staffs, they have employees, they have a management system, they have products or services that brings in revenue. So when you say, I want to buy this particular stock, you are literally saying, I believe in what this company represents and what they are doing, and I intend to key into it. So as an investor, when you want to invest into a particular stock, you want to buy into a particular shares, you want to look at their books, and that's where fundamental comes in. Now, for fundamentals, there are two legs. There's the qualitative and the quantitative, but we'll not talk about that for today. So we'll be handling everything under fundamentals, the qualitative and quantitative aspect. So for the fundamentals, we want to ask, is this business really making money? How many people they buy speaker? How many people are taking advantage of these equipment that they are producing? Then we'll have to look at their books to be able to see where the money is coming from and how they are spending that money, and if they are in debt. It is these informations and these numbers that will guide us as investors to take advantage of these money-making opportunities. So first and foremost, one of the checklist and criteria we'll be looking at is the revenue. What is the revenue like for last year? It was still 2025, so we may not get a full breakdown of the revenue because the annual report for a year is usually given maybe 3 or 5 months into the next year. So for 2025, if they're going to publish the report for 2025 in 2026, it will be around maybe June, July, or April, as the case may be, right? So we want to look back into 2024, 2023, 2022, 2021, and see if this company is actually making profits. Those are some of the criteria and parameters we would care to look at before we say, let's make an investment in this particular company. So now let's look at their fundamentals briefly. Okay, we want to look at these metrics. For their fundamentals, like I mentioned, we want to look at their revenue. Okay, so this is their financials, and then this is their reports. This is their revenue for 2024, 2023, 2022, 2021, 2020, 2019, and 2018. Now, this is very important for you if you're an investor, because you do not just want to gamble into any stock. You do not want to buy blindly. You want to buy having looked at their books. So you can see the equipment that they're producing: Sonos speakers, Sonos system products, partner products and other, wireless systems, wireless speakers, home theater speakers, components, and others. So we'll look at all of these for 2024. So for 2024, this is what brought in the most revenue. Their partner products and others, about 80.71 million USD. Can you see it? Isn't it? So then the Sonos system product brought in about 267.74 million USD. And then the Sonos speakers brought in 1.17 billion USD for just 2024 alone. Then for 2023, take note of these numbers. For 2023, the Sonos speakers brought in about 1.29 billion USD. Then for the Sonos system products, brought in about 285 million USD revenue. Then for the partner products and others, it brought in about 76.75 million USD. All these are revenues. Are you seeing it? Then the total of these three amounts, the Sonos speakers, the Sonos system, and partner product, gave us about 1.50 billion USD. 1.50. I think is more than, this is it. It's more than, so it's 1.152 or 1.153, as the case may be. All right, this is just for 2024 alone. Are you seeing it? That is just for 2024 alone. So it's very important we take note of the revenue, because if a company is not making profit, we cannot invest in that particular company. If they are not making profit, how do they then make profit for us as an investor? Then for 2023, you can see they had a revenue of about if you add all of these total figures, you get the exact a bit higher than 2024. So this should be around 1.53 approximately. Then for 2022, a bit higher than 2023. So you can see something very funny here. The revenue for each year after COVID-19 in the year 2021 increased by a few percent in 2022, and after 2022, it started declining. Are you seeing it? 2022, and the profit of 2023 declined. So the Sonos speakers alone gave about 1.37 billion USD, and then for 2023 gave about 1.29 billion USD, and then for 2024 gave about what? 1.17 billion USD. So you can see that there's a decline already for just their revenue. Are you getting this? Now, this is one of the criteria that we look at. So we can already see that this company is not making profit. Their profit is reducing per year. Let's look at the overview. So they have a market capitalization of 1.60 billion USD. They were founded in 2022. Now, this is a brief information about what they do. They engage in provision of multi-room wireless audio products. It supports streaming service and provides access to music, internet radio, podcast, audiobooks with control from Android smartphones, iPhone or iPad. And the company was founded by Mike Trunk, John McFarlane, Craig Haig, and some other guys on August 22, 2002, and is headquartered in Santa Barbara. Are you seeing this? Now, this is very important. This is our website. You can go ahead to check, and this is the CEO of this particular company. So let's check for the next criteria, which is what? The ownership. In one of my videos, when I talked about GT Bank and one other bank, that is set to hit 100 naira, I explain what a free float shares means. So if you do not know what that means, check that particular video. I did an extensive teaching on that. Now for the ownership, you can see that the free float share is about 117.83 million, and then the closely held shares is about 3.3 million for this top management. It simply means that the number of shares that is available for trading, which is free float shares, is 97.48%. And the quantity of shares that these top management are holding in their possession is just about 2.52%. Are you seeing that? Now, they have a debt of 62.17 million, a debt, you see, and then they have a cash an equivalent of about 253.95 million. Now, we can see that even though their profit, their revenue for every year is declining, we can see that to some extent, they have a free floating cash. Not this one now. This is about the quantity of shares that is in circulation and that of the owners. This one, I'm referring to this cash and equivalent, right? So let's look at their valuation. Let's look at their growth. Now, this is the revenue. We've established that already. And then this is the cost of goods. This is for the last quarter. You can see this quarterly, and this quarterly. So it means that for the last quarter is 1/3. So 1/3 in a 12 month is January, February, March, right? Then the next quarter is April, May, June, that's second quarter. Third quarter, July, August, September, fourth quarter, and so on and so forth. So for the last quarter, which is the second quarter, because we're currently in the third quarter, right? For the second quarter, their revenue was about 347.7 million USD, and the cost of goods sold was 195 million USD. Now, if you subtract this figure from the revenue, you'll be able to get their gross profit, which is 149.2 million USD. So you can see that they are making a sizable profit, sizable gross profit. Now, if we're doing a deep fundamental analysis, we will then go as far to check their gross profit margin. There's a calculation for that, but we'll not be talking about that in this particular video because I do not want this video to be too long. Now, you can look at their expenses and all of that. Now, yes, their net income, which is very important to us, is after they've made revenue, after they've done their expenses, are they really making profit? And you can see that they are losing about 3.38 million USD. So they're in minus. So their book is minus. As an investor, let me ask you, would you be investing in this particular company? Drop your answer in the comment section below. So that's that for their revenue and their growth and profitability. Then let's look at, okay, this is their revenue breakdown. Then if you want to go further, you'll be looking at their per country and all of that. So that is for the revenue. Now let's look at their financial health. This is the debt, leverage, and coverage. Same thing for the last quarter. Now you can see that in the last quarter, let me open it carefully. Last quarter, you can see that their debt is being managed compared to the cash equivalent and the free cash flow, which is a very important figure when it comes to evaluating if the company's health or the financial health of a company is buoyant. Are you getting me? Now, if you have any question why I'm explaining this, do well to drop it in the comment section. I will take my time to explain it gradually. Now, what this implies is Sonos as a company does not meet some of the criteria for me. We've looked at their fundamentals and we're seeing that to some extent, their revenue is on the negative. Same with their earnings per share. Now, so let's consider something very important. What is the insider information that we have? What is the insider activity? Now, you see, while the numbers may look very bad for Sono, on the 8th of August, close to 22, which they were founded. August 22 was the year they were founded. Remember that? On the 8th of August in 2025, the CEO, that's Conrad Thomas, bought over 92,300 shares at around 11 naira each. And one of the directors also brought about 23,000 shares. Now, together, the inside information available to us shows that over 33 million worth of stock in the last year versus only 3 million was sold. And that's a strong signal for us because the management is literally, even though their books is not that clean as regards revenue, the management is literally putting their mouth where their money is. And that's a great indicator for us to show that why this company is not doing well, for those of us who have great faith in this, we may want to stay with them for that period. That's why we'll be looking at the fundamentals. With the fundamentals, we'll be able to stay with this company to ascertain when their book will be balanced, when their book will be clean, and all of those regularization will be done. Are you getting this? So, concerning this particular stock called SONO, let's add to the technical so we can see what SONO have for us. Okay, so this is the technical chart for SONO. As at, look at the date. I want you to look at this date carefully. See, August 17th. Remember, I told you August 8th, insider information shows that a lot of this stock was purchased at 11 naira. Now, August 17th, we had the stock move down to less than $8. What am I saying naira? Oh, my naira not masters. So the price went to less than $8 and it has climbed back to 13. So those guys who did an insider buying are currently swimming in huge profit. So as an outside investor, this is how we can take advantage of it. Looking at this daily chart, Sonos is in for a very long ride. And of course, as soon as their financial book becomes regularized, the stock would already be reflecting in our favor. So I still consider Sonos from a technical perspective to be a good stock for long term. And like I said, why their fundamentals is not that straightforward, the technicals is pointing that Sonos is in for some good buying activities, coupled with the fact that some of their top management staff are keen and putting their money where their mouth is. So what's your verdict for this particular stock? On fundamentals, we have concluded that they are failing. They do not meet some of my criteria. They have a declining EPS, they have a shrinking revenue, and the profitability is weak. Then for insider confidence, we can see that the CEO and their directors, they are loading up big time. And then for technicals, we can see that this coin has a bullish sentiment. So for you as an investor, what would you be doing with this particular stock? Would you be buying this? Would you keep it as part of your watch list? Or would you discard this? But before I leave, I would give you something very important to chew on and to just reflect. Would you trust the numbers based on the fundamentals, or would you follow the CEO's wallet? I would like you to drop your take in the comment section. Now, until we see again, don't forget to stay profitable. This is Trader Kessie. Have a great and wonderful time ahead. Cheers.